Hello Libra, thank you so much for joining me again, and thank you so much to all my Libra friends out there. I think that I have a bias towards Libra, and it's probably because I have 4 planets in my 6th house in Libra, and one of them being Venus. I love you guys. I have so many Libra friends and family that are Libra sun. You guys are fantastic people. And I cannot thank you enough for sharing your comments with me and liking the videos. I really do appreciate it. So now this week, Libra, from Le Vampire, you pulled seduction, allure, desire, and manipulation. And then from Chakra Wisdom, you pulled growth. Now the two of them, just looking at them right off the bat, is saying that you're saying no to people and you're growing through your own experiences. But seduction from Le Vampire, the blessing here says that you are now able to discern much more clearly between people who are healthy for you and people who you would do well to avoid. This is about no longer feeling guilty for saying no to attractive advances. And then working with this card talks about you being able to resist unhealthy advances from manipulative people at this time. You're no longer available for others to make use of. And then looking at that with growth is saying that you are taking a stand for yourself. The quote for this card says that your message is best expressed when you are uniquely you. This is taking a stand, living in your truth. You may have clashing values, and this is also teaching by example, which absolutely I think you're doing here with seduction. When it comes to people who just want to use you, you're like, oh, hell no, I see through that, and you're growing instead of allowing yourself to be caught up in situations like that. All right, Libra, here we go. Here's the energy coming through. Oh, Libra, I'm telling you. For some of you who are dealing with situations like that, when you're talking about seduction and seeing the lovers fall out, you have to be careful here with the devil. This being the overall energy, though, is talking about you needing to release yourself from the things that are stripping you of hope. Whether it's bad people, it's addictive behaviors, whatever it is here that is weighing you down, you have the ability to change the situation. It can be hard, though, when we're in difficult situations to see a way out, but it would be a little bit different if the 8 of Swords was sitting here. But with the devil, you know, this is really something that, for some of you, you're allowing yourself to be caught up in now. And you do have the ability to release yourself from it. And the past, the Queen of Swords, and there you are. There you are. I like seeing the Queen of Swords for Libra. She is strong and independent. And she will kick your ass if you cross her. And I can just hear the Libras out there going, damn right. But seeing her, there is pain from the past. And it influences the way that she makes decisions and the way that she communicates with people. She's sharp, she's smart as a whip. She cuts right to the chase. She doesn't bullshit around. But this is really about strength and independence from dealing with past difficulties. And I do feel like that's you. But for some reason, you're allowing yourself to slip into hanging on to things that are no good for you. And in the present, the 7 of Cups. I kind of worry here. It's like, you know, you go from being clear on your thinking to not at all. The 7 of Cups, you know, there's a couple of different ways to look at it. You know, it could be having a lot of options in front of you. And the problem is that when you're needing to choose something here, we have a tendency to attach our emotional fantasies to the options that we have to choose from. It's like being in fantasy land, doing wishful thinking, but not really doing anything, and then choosing things that are bad for you. Future conditions, the Hierophant. Wow, Libra, wow. Look at it. This, to me, and I'm looking at it, you know, you go where, I think for some of you, you're going to be in this period where you just don't feel like yourself. Things are starting to change where you're like attaching yourself to really bad thinking, especially with the 7 of Cups. Bad habits, bad people. And then you kick out of it with the Hierophant. You know, and then for some of you, it could definitely be somebody coming through that's helping you to get a better spiritual understanding. The Hierophant is, you know, doing things in the traditional way. It's the traditional dogma, right? It is spirituality, but it's brought down to earth in a way for us to understand. And, you know, when you're talking about Libra and getting away from doing things that are harmful for you, you go back to this, okay, now I can start to see clearly and get that balance and be able to weigh out the pros and the cons and make clear-cut decisions, because, you know, that is you. That is justice. That is why that is your card. You have an amazing ability to stop people when they're wanting to do something based on their emotions and say, now, wait a minute, let's think about this before you do something stupid. But sometimes, you know, even the best of us can fall into situations where you get caught up with things that are no good and doing some really bad thinking. But seeing the Hierophant, I do think that you have a return to yourself. And I see things getting a little bit more stable for you, but more so with yourself internally. So you're not in this clouded kind of bullshit thinking that's leading you into situations that are harmful. Your best path to follow, the Five of Cups. Now, here's the thing. If you're dealing with emotional issues, if you're chaining yourself to depression, bad thinking, bad emotional thoughts, Spirit is really trying to tell you here that you do need to start reconnecting back with Spirit and yourself. It's hard when you look at the Five of Cups in any other position, immediately says emotional pain, loss, suffering. You know, but again, the message has always been with this card that not all is lost. It's just you're having difficulty taking your focus away from the things that are gone. And for some of you, it's emotional difficulties that you're chaining yourself to right now. Bad thinking, bad emotional thoughts. Spirit here is saying that there's a need to recognize this, but start building on what you still have left instead of focusing on what is gone. There is a need for you to do some spiritual growth so that you're not feeling like you're being stripped of hope. And you can have this return of you come back. In your environment, the Seven of Pentacles. And, you know, when you talk about justice and weighing out the options and you look at the Seven of Pentacles, it's reevaluating. It's reevaluating what you have. Okay, I have put in the effort here. This is what I have to show for it. Is this the results that I'm expecting to see here, or do I need to do something different? And I think that you're reevaluating your own thoughts. And I think a lot of you know that you're doing some harmful emotional thinking right now. I really think that that's the big thing here with the Devil sitting there. But, you know, again, with seeing the Seven of Pentacles, you're really taking a look at it now. It's almost like you're asking yourself, is this really worthy of you? And it's not. It's not, you know. Where, you know, in the present moment, you may be doing some really bad emotional thinking. I really do think that you get back to who you are and you start seeing things a little bit more practically instead of being in fantasy land. Oh, look at that. Yep. It's beautiful, Libra. The sun, your hopes and your fears. And yeah, absolutely. You're going to be just fine. You're going to be just fine. I think for a lot of you right now, you know, and this is all internal. This is all internal. You're dealing with some really bad thinking, really bad thinking. And it may be because of losses that you may have suffered. And it makes sense. You know, it makes sense that you're thinking that way and attaching yourself to that. But seeing the sun there, you're going to be just fine. And I think a lot of you are hoping to get that return back to who you are. I think for a lot of you, it's almost like this feeling of, you know, this isn't who I am, you know, but I'm kind of stuck with it at the moment. But I think you start to figure out how to get yourself out of it. And again, with the sun, you're going to be just fine, just fine. And then the outcome, Judgment, look at it. Look at it. So you're going to go through a rebirth. Definitely. You're going through a rebirth here. Your focus is going to be on the things that are hurting you. And you're going to be thinking about it, but you have to be careful about where your thinking is leading you emotionally, right? But you get to a spot where you like snap out of it, definitely. And you really do get back to yourself here. Judgment is saying that you're going to take a look at the way that you're thinking and feeling about things in the past. It's the review. It's assessment, atonement, and rebirth. And that is what happens in that card. And you're going to start taking action to really get back to who you are, but more importantly, who you are spiritually too. I mean, you've got the two opposing forces here, right? Wow, Libra, this is it. It blows me away because a lot of times, you know, when I look at your readings, there's the external things going on, but then there's internal. And this is all internal. This is all what's going on with you internally. The only external that I'm seeing with this reading is seduction. Don't allow yourselves to get caught up in doing things for short-term satisfaction because it's not worthy of you. And I think you know it. But you're going to have this return to yourself, this rebirth, and getting back to that ass-kicking Queen of Swords. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right, Libra, we're going to take a look at soul trees to see what other messages there are for you guys. But I do like the outcome here because I do think that you're going to do the right thing. But I think a lot of you are reassessing things that you may have done, and you're doing what you need to correct that. And the sun, again, you're going to be just fine. And detachment, I'm telling you, Libra, detach yourself from the things that are hurting you. If you've dealt with emotional suffering because of something that may have happened, a loss that you've suffered, whatever it is, it's time to detach yourself from that kind of thinking, tap into your strength, and teach yourself how to be strong through the emotional difficulties you may be facing. I love it. I love it, Libra. Your reading is fantastic. It's a beautiful story. And I do think that this reading can help to teach a lot of people. You know, when they're dealing with these kinds of situations and being stripped of hope, being emotionally just in a bad spot, it's through your own actions and decisions that starts to change these situations. And then the universe responds with the sun. Absolutely. It's beautiful, Libra. I love it. All right, we're going to take a look at the romance angels to see what is going on for you guys in terms of love. Love yourself first. Your self-respect makes you more romantically attractive, and it does. When you have respect for yourself, that is what opens you up to being attractive to your partner and your partner being attracted to you. And we hear it all the time. You have to love yourself first before anybody else can love you. Because our own love and our own happiness has to come from within first before we can see it without. But it's a beautiful reading. I really do think that, you know, some of you are growing through some tough experiences, and it may have to do with people who are wanting to use you, but you're standing strong. You may be facing some difficulties right now, but you guys are amazing. You are amazing at being able to pull yourselves out of this kind of crap and returning back to the sun. All right, Libra, I love the fact that even though the devil is the signifier here, that you have you coming in as the Queen of Swords and then having Judgment right next to it. And then seeing the Hierophant on top of that. You guys have an amazing ability to get yourself out of situations that you know are no good for you. It's like you allow yourselves to go through these situations because you know that there's something to learn from it. And the way that you deal with it is beautiful. It's beautiful. And I'm telling you that the universe is responding to you. With the sun showing up, you're going to be fine. But I think for a lot of you, you're dealing with some really bad emotional thinking right now. And it may be because some of you have suffered a loss. And it would make sense that you go into fantasy mode and attach yourself to these kinds of ways of thinking rather than dealing with what can I do to change the situation. But you do just that. seeing the Hierophant and then seeing the Seven of Pentacles, I really do think that you guys start to reevaluate it and go, you know, this isn't quite right. It's not worthy of me. And you start getting this spiritual, like, return to yourself. I mean, absolutely. Between the Hierophant Judgment and then seeing the Queen of Swords as the past coming through, you're going to be returning to this. Back to who you are. Sharp, ass-kicking, able to deal with these kinds of situations. And again, with the Sun, I think you're going to be just fine. And I love your soul trees. I mean, they speak volumes. Strength, detachment, and teach. And again, with growth, teaching by example. And that's exactly what you do, especially if you're saying no to people who want to use you. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a romantic way, but regardless, whatever it is with the people that are around you, you're like, no, you're not going to use me anymore. And I think it's fantastic. As far as love goes, true love for the singles, beautiful. I love it. But, you know, even with this being for the couples, I do think it's important for both that, you know, you do have to love yourself first. It's so important, especially if you're dealing with things right now that you're kind of stuck in. But I think by the end of the week, you guys are going to be like, yep, I can see right clear through to the end here, and I know that this is bullshit, and I'm going to go through a rebirth. I love it, Libra. I think your week is going to be okay. I just think for some of you, you're attaching yourselves in the moment to things that you know aren't any good, but you're learning through this process. And what you do out of this is fantastic. You're going to go through a major rebirth here, and there's going to be a brand new cycle in your life where these things are not going to affect you anymore.